Hey everyone, Jeff Joslin here, back for another breakdown video. I'm super excited about this one. This is going to be a breakdown of my first MMA fight, my first real MMA scrap with 4-ounce gloves, no shin pads, no headgear, the real deal. I had been in one street fight situation when I was in high school. It was a draw, I'll take that, but that's what inspired me to start training more, to take martial arts more serious. But this was the first time I actually got in the cage, or it was the ring at this time, and threw down in mixed martial arts. We'll get to the action, and I'll explain my thoughts and some behind the scenes stuff as we watch it together. Yes, that was a go-go dancer in the cage. We're at a nightclub in Montreal, Quebec, Millennium Nightclub, for the event called UCC Proving Grounds. And UCC Proving Grounds was a great opportunity for new fighters to break into the sport. And it was in Quebec, obviously. I just mentioned that, but we couldn't fight in Ontario. Unfortunately, it was illegal, so we had to make the trip out here to have our first fight in Montreal. The venue, it was dark. There was the ring in the middle, there was the cages, it was small and kind of intense, and I knew that it was about to get real tonight. I promise the cameraman, camera work gets better. So you see that old robe there. That robe was a kickboxing and boxing thing. My father's like, Jeff, you gotta get a robe. You gotta get a robe for this fight. So I ended up getting a robe. And my dad had trained many kickboxing champions, and they all wore kind of that traditional boxer's robe going into the fights. So this was the only fight I wore. So it was kind of a unique look. May have heard that, but it was at middleweight. This was at 185. So the day before I went to the weigh-ins, and I was drinking water all day long. I was eating apples. I wasn't cutting any weight. I didn't know about weight cutting. So I ended up weighing at 183, just walking around weight. And then after this fight, I learned about weight cutting, and I ended up going down to my natural division, which was better for me at 170. But this was at 185. I remember seeing my opponent, and he was taller than me, 6'2", and he took his shirt off, and the muscles he was all shredded. And I'm like, uh-oh. That's my opponent, Kyle Sanford. And originally they had given me 3 names. They gave me Jonathan Goulet, Patrick Cote, and Kyle Sanford. I didn't recognize any of the names except for Kyle, actually. So I was just like to the promoter, just give me whoever you decide, and as long as I have a fight, I'm happy. So they ended up giving me Kyle, and I remember I ended up competing with Kyle earlier at the North American Grappling Championship, the NAGA Championship at Blue Belt. And I had won the gold, but I remember in the finals, a very tough guy, and it was Kyle. And he had great technique and very, very tenacious and very tough. So I knew this had the potential of being a very tough grappling matchup. And I didn't win that match against Kyle, grappling match, by submission. I think it was just points. So this is a brand new match. Expect them to say that. They announced me as someone who dominated the martial arts scene. So I did a lot of competitions, a lot of tournaments, and I built a bit of a reputation in martial arts through the karate scene, and then the grappling scene was doing pretty well. So I remember the promoter always said to me, said, whenever you're ready to fight, he said, just let me know and I'll get you a match. So I always had that kind of opportunity. And why did I wait till now? I think I was 27 at this point. I wanted to win a big Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournament. So 6 months before this, I won the International Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Pan American Championship, the gold medal in my division, and faced some really tough guys. So it was at that point when I won that match, I decided, okay, now it's time to make the step to MMA, and I got right back into striking, hooked up with my boxing coach, Vito Brancaccio, and we just hit it off and started to, really develop the striking skills, and then it led to this moment here. So this is, again, my first MMA match. Wow, it was lighter than I thought.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jeff Joslin.
At this moment, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling confident. I'm ready to smash, ready to fight. I don't know, something inside you has to come out at that moment. Otherwise, the sport's not for you. If you're there and you're not having fun, you're not enjoying that moment, you're not looking forward to this, I don't know if it's for you. There's something you have to bring out that fighting spirit. But I wasn't like this the day before. I remember when we got to the venue, I started to get nervous, and I saw one of the parents from the club, and he came up to me and says, "Jeff, I've never seen you so nervous before." So I was like, all of a sudden I became more nervous. And I remember another detail. Let's switch this over here. I remember another detail as one guy came up to me and says, "Jeff, you're fighting Kyle." He goes, don't strike with Kyle. He's working on his boxing a lot. And I'd been working on my boxing, my kickboxing as well. And I remember I was like, whoa. My game plan was to do some striking. And I kind of doubted myself for a second. But then I thought to myself, let's take this as a challenge. I said, I'm gonna knock him out. And I kind of, dug down and found my confidence. And then I got my head back together. But just sometimes those things can throw you off. And if you let the negative take over, it becomes a very scary place. For me, I let the positive take over, and I was excited again to strike with him or grapple with him. Just enjoy the MMA moment. So let's get to the action. Let's just take one moment here. I'm going to just talk about who's in my corner. So my father's in my corner, Rick Joslin, and he's always been my hero in martial arts, and he had accomplished so much in the sport. He won the Canadian Championship, and look at him on the right there. He was a beast, great shape. I remember he used to smoke me. We used to go for runs together when I was a teenager, and he would just kill me, and he was like in his mid to late 40s, and it was tough as a kid growing up. He was very strict, but when I get into the cage or into the ring, I always felt like there was a piece of him in me, and that made me feel almost unstoppable. So very proud to represent family. And I better throw my mom here for a second here. So there's my mom, just so she doesn't beat me up for not putting her in this. But that's my mom. She supported us so much over the years, and that's me when I was a little kid. And again, getting back to my dad, that hero of mine. So having him in my corner meant so much to me. Let's get to the action. Ate a couple of low kicks there, and I actually didn't feel them at all in the fight. But I'll admit, the next day, even those 2 kicks, I was kind of limping around a little bit. So immediately kick into that grappling mode, threw a few strikes, but we end up getting into clinch. So I go for the body lock, and he really held on. I was wondering how he stopped it, but he held on to the ropes a little bit here. So it was kind of old school days where it was just like, whatever, I think the referee smacks his hand here, but it was tough to take him down. He had a good base in this position. His body was twisted. He was tough. I wanted that takedown. I wanted to get on top. I wanted to work that jiu-jitsu, but Kyle had great defense. cheering my name. I'm not sure who that was. Maybe, I don't know. I didn't have too many people with me from Hamilton. Be interesting to see who that was. A couple fans. Try to trip him down, but he's tough. He's got a good twist, got a wizard there. I remember thinking, yeah, he felt very strong, good positioning, very strong. Now, if anybody's had an MMA fight before, your first fight is a blur. It almost feels as though you're watching a movie of someone else fighting. It's not even you, but your body's doing stuff, but it does not feel like it's you. So I think I just want this to end, so I'm going aggressive. And again, I've been doing a lot of grappling, so it kind of went from punches to grappling to clinch. I wanted to get on top, and I think knowing that I did well with him on the ground in the North American Championship, I wanted to get him down and get that top position. In MMA, the top position is very important to get. The bottom is not fun. The bottom is tough. You have to work, and you can take some damage on the bottom. So even though in Jiu-Jitsu you can be very strong on the bottom and be able to put submissions up, in MMA it changes with the elements of striking. At this point, first fight, I think it felt like forever. It's probably only 2 minutes or something, but it felt like 10 minutes. Kept my posture up there, tried to avoid the knees. Okay, I think I do remember this part. So I threw a little check hook there. And now in this movement here, this is where I land a very strong punch. I move my head to the left as he throws a jab, and I loop my right hand over top and catch him in the head. And it's a move that actually my father showed me many years back, one of his favorite moves, and I hadn't even been practicing it much, but it came off well. And that was it. The referee stopped the fight, and I was like, it is over. Thankfully, it's over. And I got the win. I didn't know what to do. I was so excited that I jumped up and I did a tornado kick. And this tornado kick is a move that I used to use a lot in karate tournaments back in the day. So here it is here. And that actually became my trademark kick going forward. After every victory, I did that in the cage. And it's such a relief to get that win, to get that W. It's something that you envision for so many years. You just want to get that win, and finally it happens. It was a magical moment. I think the camera messes up a little bit there for a second, but we're back. So yeah, the guy in my corner is Gavin Hessen. Gavin was actually the first guy from our team to fight an MMA fight, and he actually went on undefeated, beat some very tough guys, and it was awesome to have him in my corner. He actually ended up training me in conditioning for my fight with John Fitch, which was one of my best fights, one of the fights that I had the most energy. So big thanks to Gavin for helping get me ready and be in my corner and supporting me over the years. That's what I did to take off my gloves now. For me, just always wanted to make him proud. That was my goal, and I think that's the fuel for my martial arts training for my whole life. I always just wanted to make him proud, not embarrass the family name. And he had started and ran our martial arts school. It's over 50 years now, and I took over a few years back. But very proud of everything he did, and never wanted to let him down in any way. You can see the relief on my face there. I'm like, it's over. Yeah. Kyle was a beast of a competitor. He was very tough. I'm actually happy that worked out in my favor, but that fight could go either way, depending on what happens in the situation. But he went on actually and he went 7-1. So our first fight was together, a debut, and then he ended up beating everybody going forward. So I had no doubt in my mind. He had some injuries, so I think that's the only thing that stopped him from getting into the UFC and continuing in the sport. So he's a beast.
Ladies and gentlemen, le gagnant par KO technique après 1 minute et 58 secondes de premier round de ce combat. The winner by TKO after 1 minute and 58 seconds in the first round. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Joslin!
That was it. That was it. So it was what an amazing feeling to get that victory. First MMA fight. I remember the promoter put some nice things on the forums. Back then there was no Facebook, no Instagram, so it was just forums. And I remember the promoter put some nice words about my fight, and motivated me to train hard and put on good shows for the crowd. And I was just happy to get that first one in the books. So hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I look forward to do more on some of my other fights. Other than that, if you can subscribe for the channel, and I always appreciate all your support. So thanks so much, guys. Have a great day.